Welcome to PowerPivot video number 8. Hey, if you want to download this workbook and follow along, click on the link below the video. Hey, this video is going to be awesome. We're going to see how to update existing connections to our source data, import the new data into our PowerPivot columnar database, and then refresh our reports. Now, before we go back to our Manage Data Model window and get our new data, I just want to take a look at these reports. This is 14, 15, 16. So we had transactions from 3 years. Now, when we import our data, we're going to have data from a new year. So there'll actually be new transactions in the data set. And there'll be a new column also. Now, I want to come over here to Pivot Table 1, 3. Notice we have 14, 15, 16. And there's going to be a new column for the year 17. It's going to push this over. When we created these reports earlier, we said, yes, this is dangerous. It is dangerous to put these reports. So I'm actually going to click on this F column and right-click, Insert. That way, when it pushes over, it won't be touching this. Probably a better idea to put each one of these reports on a separate sheet. But for this video, we were illustrating, and so I wanted them right next to each other. Hey, not only that, but when we update our data with new transactions from the year 2017, both of these quarter categories were created with our calculated columns. All of these will update immediately with the new quarters for 2017. Now let's go over and open up our Manage Data Model window, Alt-B-M. I just want to take a quick look at the data model before we go look at the new source data. And I just want to remember that on the calendar table, Control down arrow, this was an import from Excel, and it only has the year 2016. So before we go to editing existing connections and importing new data, I'm going to go over to the Excel file. This has a new name. Back in video number 6, it said PowerPoint 06 source data.xlsx. Now our data model remembers that old name, so we'll see how to edit that existing connection so it understands this. But we need to deal with this. Control down arrow. Oh yeah, our calendar table only goes to 2016. Now, in video 6, I showed you how to create this table. I did it manually. I've got to show you a great trick. A few people commented about this. Watch this. I need 365 new dates. I'm going to point to the fill handle with my crosshair or angry rabbit, and I'm going to right-click, drag down one, and then back up. And instantly a special menu pops up, and we can point to series. I want to fill this down the columns with a step value of 1, and I want to go exactly until 12/31/2017. When I click OK, instantly I have my new dates. Control down arrow. This is a table, right? So it automatically expands. Control home, Control S. Now let's go look at our Access database. We don't really need to look here, but I'm going to double click and open it up. It just, now we have 54,000 or something like that. And if I went down to the bottom, you'd see that there's lots of new transactions from 2017. So here's our source. The file name here has also changed, so I'm going to close this. Now let's go to our data model window. The first thing we need to do is go to existing connections. And whereas before we saw how to go to this connection and get a new table from this file, here, that's the wrong name. It's connected. The data model is connected to the wrong file name. So I'm going to come down and click Edit. Sure enough, I can come up here and click Browse and redirect it to the correct file, PowerPivot 08 source data. Double click, change this to 8. And click Save. This is simply saving the new file path. Now if we were to click here, I'm going to click Refresh. Close, close. And there we have our new dates in our calendar table. Notice that all the formulas over here, we didn't have to go over and update any of these. That is just profound. Look at that one, 2017 quarter 1. Before we go look at our reports, let's now go back up to existing connections. If your file name was the same, which most times it is, you do not need to go and do this edit step. I just changed the file names. So I am updating this. Browse, double click, I'm going to change this name up here to 8. Click Save. And now watch this. I'm going to click Refresh. Close. Close. And before we go look at our reports in our fact sale table, I forgot to show you. I'm actually going to go back and open up our Access database. And I want to double click this, and I just forgot to mention earlier, there's a whole new column. Yes, we have 54,000 records, so there's 18,000 new records. But we have a new column too. So let's go look at our data model. Let's first go look at our F sales. Sure enough, 54,000. So we got all the records. But the column didn't come in. No problem. We go up to Design, Table Properties. The column was re-imported into this data model. It's just we have to come here and now in Table Properties, check it to include it. There's our percent of standard cost. That's an extra column we'll need for cost of goods sold. And click Save. And there we go. So we've added there was a column added in our source access database, so we refreshed and then went to Table Properties to get that new column. You're not going to believe this. So let's go over and look, and we'll come back and use this in our next video when we do a bunch of calculated fields. We'll calculate cost of goods sold. But now let's go look at our reports. This is amazing. Look at that. There's a 17. It just popped right in. And look at all these quarter calculations. Totally updates. Back on this sheet, this one has a 17 too. So we really see some of the power and beauty of PowerPivot. We build our reporting system. It's connected to multiple external sources. We can simply refresh. Most of the time we can just refresh, right? But I did want to show you that sometimes we have to reestablish using existing connections, and then boom, it all updates. All right, so in this video we saw how to update our calendar table, edit existing connections, refresh, and even add an extra column using Table Properties. And we saw that our reports updated automatically. Now in our next video, we'll start creating a bunch of calculated fields and then using them in pivot table reports. All right, we'll see you next video.